Hi, this is Shay Bynes, founder and chief fire igniter of Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur and the host of the Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur podcast. What you're about to hear is a replay from last week's expansion talk with our CEO, Phil Bynes, and our director of culture, Latara Venice. And the discussion was on order plus accountability plus follow through equals success. Remember, you have the opportunity to join in live to these conversations via Zoom on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to receive the notifications on how to join, be sure to subscribe to our email list at kingdomdrivenentrepreneur.com/connect. Now, for those who can't join live, no worries, because we will continue to share the replays right here on the podcast as often as possible. So listen in and enjoy this recent expansion talk.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us for another expansion talk. And I am super excited about today's conversation. I am Latara Venice, and I am the director of culture for Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur, here along with Phil Bynes, the CEO of Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur. And we are going to be having a great conversation, as is the norm. Phil, how was your Thanksgiving before we get started here?
It was good. It was good.
Good.
Didn't worry about cooking no meats. We ordered that from somewhere else. I just made the sides and we were good to go.
Awesome. I cooked a whole meal, but not a whole lot. But for Christmas, I didn't already catered. I'm not cooking nothing. I'm just heating the food. All right. So we have a new way of sending out information. So you'll get a newsletter once a week with the link to join us. So make sure that you are paying attention to that. If I'm not mistaken, there will not be a Friday reminder. Just put this stuff in your calendar and then go and find the newsletter on Wednesdays so that you all can join us. The newsletter is pretty cool too. I really liked it. It's really
it looked
cool.
really nice. Yeah.
Really liked it. So, and it has a whole bunch of other goodies too. So make sure you read through the newsletter that Angie is sending out. It is really good. And go back to your newsletter, click the link, and join us here on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So today, Phil, we are talking about order plus accountability plus follow through equals success. This is going to be a good conversation.
And I know if you've been around KDE for any length of time, you'll be like, hold up, that's a different success formula than the one I know. And the truth is, this is not really the success formula. Faith plus obedience equals success. That's the KDE success formula.
Yeah.
But what happens sometimes in us pursuing faith and obedience, sometimes we get off track. And so really what this formula here, order plus accountability plus follow through equals success, is actually a formula that's more of a key to supercharge your obedience with patience, right? Because, Shay Bynes talks about the power twins. You have faith and patience, and, faith and obedience, right? And both of them are needed, right? But when we talk about order, accountability, and follow through, they're really going to help us to exercise the patience aspect so that we can get to that whole faith and obedience, right? Not giving up before the end. So that was the thought process that I had for this. And really it came out of a place of me asking the Lord to help me with my daughter, my middle daughter. She was having a challenge in class, like with follow through. And starting good. And then before you know it, she started to peter out. And I'm like, Lord, what is that about? What can I tell her? What is it? And then he gave me this formula: order, accountability, follow through, and she'll have the success that she's looking for. And so that's really the place where this came out of. So I figured, let's chat it up. Let's chat about it today. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I like that. As you were talking, I thought about algebra. Right? In algebra, it's not like 1 + 1 is 2, right? It's like these levels, and to work a problem out, you have to go line by line by line to get the answer. But if you don't get the answer, then you have to go back and figure out, where did I mess up? Where did I miss putting X plus Y equals 2 or whatever.
Mhm.
Where did I mess up? And then you have to go and course correct it so that the answer is the right answer. And so we talk about, again, the faith plus obedience equals success, right? So
Mhm.
when you look at that, though, where did I mess up? Did I mess up in the obedience part? Did I mess up in the faith part? Did I mess up in both? What does that look like? And how do I correct it? So that's what I'm seeing, that this is a line to that main formula, to that main part. So this is going to be good.
Yeah. And so I figured we can start with defining terms. That's what we do around here to make sure we're on the same page, right? So I have the word order as the arrangement or disposition of people or things in relation to each other according to a particular sequence, pattern, or method. And so the example sentence will be, I filed the card in alphabetical order, right? So it was defined by alphabetical order, right? And so that's the first one. So that's order. Accountability, the state of being accountable. That is someone who is completely responsible for what they do and must be able to give a satisfactory reason for it, right? And the last one, follow through. Continue in action or task to its conclusion. And so that's really what we're talking about here. We have to have an arrangement, an order, a pattern, a sequence, right? And then we have accountability, the state of being accountable. Accountable, that is someone who is completely responsible for what they do and must be able to give a satisfactory reason for it. I think we need to highlight that part.
Yeah.
Be able to give a satisfactory reason for it, right? That's the accountability piece. And then the follow through, continue on with the action until we reach our conclusion, right?
Yeah.
And so what do you think?
I love this because there's a number of things, and Dr. Tony said this, and I'm sticking to it till I'm gone at 120. That's how long I'm gonna live. And is that his glory follows order, right? God is not a God of mess. He's a God of order. And so we do have to have these things like, there is a certain level of discipline I've had to put in my life this year. And it has not been easy because I'm the free spirit. I love doing business and I have order, but it wasn't as in order as it needed to be. And so I've experienced more of God's glory as I am putting things in order and kind of moving through this space. Now, when it comes to accountability, here's the thing. You cannot... You can be, but you cannot really be accountable to yourself, right? So you can set goals and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be accountable to myself for that. You can kind of do that, but it kind of doesn't really work unless you have somebody who you are allowing yourself to be accountable to, right? I remember telling my oldest son, we were talking one day, he said, yeah, Mom, I'm holding myself accountable to that. I said, well, who's going to hold you accountable to you being accountable to yourself? And he said, I never thought about that. I said, that's important. I said, that's why a lot of people can give themselves excuses, or they slip up or they go, well, that wasn't God. Because they don't hold themselves accountable to someone else. And that takes a lot of work to do. I know, because I didn't want to be held accountable to nobody, because I knew if I was held accountable, guess what? I had to follow through with what I said I was going to be accountable to getting in order. And that's not always, again, it's a great formula. It's a necessary formula, but it's a hard formula to follow. It can be difficult when you are used to being that solo person, or you don't trust people a whole lot, or maybe you don't trust yourself a whole lot, so you don't want to share with nobody. But if we want to shift and change and really elevate not just ourselves, but God's glory in our lives, and so that people can see this thing, right? We have to learn just what this says: order plus accountability plus follow through equals success. Now, you may need more of one thing than you may need, you may have some things in order, but you might not have no accountability, which means you won't follow through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the cool thing is, this is how this stuff plays out. Because I got the topic like on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something that I already had in my notes, but then God highlighted. He was like, talk about this on Friday. I was like, oh, okay. And all I had was the formula, and I had the definitions because I had that stuff ready for my daughter to help her through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't thought about it anymore. And then wouldn't you believe, like, I wake up in the next morning or so, and he does this whole download, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is how he kind of gave me to think through this thing. And so I'll just start to unravel some of it for you guys. So when we apply our faith towards God, he rewards us because he rewards anyone who believes in him and diligently seeks him. That's what the scripture says, right? What does he reward us with? Depending on what we're asking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we're asking for wisdom. He rewards us with wisdom. But the bottom line of what he rewards everybody with is revelation, right? Revelation is given, but to do something with it, you have to put it into order and become established in that order, right?
That's good.
So if God gave us a revelation that, hey, let's take Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur for example. He said it's the community, it's a movement, it starts with a book. So then he gave a really big outline of what the order looks like: community, movement, book, right? And then, okay, you talk to God some more. What's the first thing he's going to give you? Okay, what's the first step? All right, so it's a community movement. It starts with the book. Oh, he told us it starts with the book. So then we go and we seek him out for the stuff that's in the book.
Yeah.
That starts the order, right? He's already given us kind of an order. What happens so often is he'll tell us stuff and we miss kind of the order that he's given us in what he's telling us. Or sometimes we'll hear what he says, but then we make something that he didn't say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we go after that thing that he didn't say.
Yeah.
Neglecting the very thing that he did say,
Yeah.
And so that's why this whole order piece is very important, because we have to get back to the bottom line. What did God say? Okay, God, I'm seeking you for more faith about this. Give me more revelation. What am I supposed to do with this information that you gave me? And then he'll continue to help us refine the order, right? So what do you think about that so far? I don't want to get ahead of myself.
That's good. And as you were talking, I just think about, we mentioned how KDE even got started. And I thought about the shift in my business when I started with Igniters. I was a brand marketing coach, right? I'm helping you. Listen, I can brand you. I can brand your business. I can help you to really, do the social media thing and all of that. And because when I started doing that, that's when social media started getting hot. I've been in these online streets for a minute. So social media was getting hot and people needed it. And I was digging into it to find out more and, and learning all that. And when God began to shift it and like really move me out of it, there was this trust factor that I had to have. Right. And in that trust factor, it was like, okay, it started with stop coaching. What you mean stop coaching, right? Stop coaching. Okay. And then he gave me these levels. Okay, go talk to the people about emotional immaturity. Okay, well, what's next? Right. So I was going in his order. And when I went out of order, which I did quite often from 2016 to 2018, because I needed more money and I wasn't getting what I needed. So I was a hustler. I'm not going to lie, I was a hustler. And I grinded to get what I had to get. And learning that process of getting out of that, I watched him unfold so much. And just this morning, I was kind of mapping it out. It's funny, I was mapping it out. And I'm like, wow, I'm right back where he told me to shift how my business looked, because my business is shifting again. Right. So there's just this process of just trusting him. And that's what is really important in this particular thing, is learning how to trust the order of things. And when you trust the order of things, and I hold myself accountable, I have accountability partners. Right. And the follow through was the sucky part for me. And I had to really learn that follow through piece. And as I follow through, I watched everything just kind of unfold and things began to happen. And I think that if we really pay attention to when chaos begins to happen, sitting back and going, okay, where am I out of order at? Because I'm all over the place right now. That we'll find more success even when we think it doesn't look successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said something there, right? Because God is not the author of confusion.
Right.
So when confusion happens, that means that something is out of order. Something that we did, you know, we set a what's a chain reaction of something that caused disorder. So we get a chance to go back and figure out, okay, Lord, what am I missing? I need revelation again. Once again, we're talking about that revelation, right? So as far as this is concerned, so the revelation is key to forming order. Okay.
Yes.
So what's the next one on this thing? Accountability, right? To become established in the order, you must become accountable to a process that should govern the methodology of the order or of your order, right? So basically, you are setting up boundaries of operation with hopefully people and tools to help you keep order in your process. A lot of people miss it there because they haven't thought about, they just do the things. They haven't continued on to work out the process. Okay, how am I going to know that I'm staying in alignment with the order that God has said or set before me? Right. What I know so far, right?
Right.
You think about it, you set up boundaries to help you be accountable, and you set people up as referees. This just came to me, as referees to help you keep your boundaries, right? So you have tools, you have your boundaries, and you know, even like computer tools or whatever, you know, matrices, whatever thing you need to do to help you recognize, okay, this is what I need to do to stay accountable. This is the boundaries that I need to stand. And here's the people that can speak into my life to help me keep that. But I think that's the process that a lot of people miss. Is that accountability piece. First, we got to get the order, how this thing's supposed to look as far as I know at this moment. Because God is always going to continually be revealing revelation to help us refine our order. But we also need accountability as we know more, set things in structures and stuff like that. So what do you think about that?
That's good. That's good. I was hoping that this was going to be a part of what we talked about because, you know, when you talked about hopefully people and tools to help you keep order in your process, this is that part of community and collaboration that's really important as we build our businesses, right? Because if you don't want to be accountable to somebody, then that means that you may be missing out on some wisdom that God is using them to supply to you to be able to move forward. So I've been doing this thing online for a while, right? So I really know a lot of the ins and outs of like email marketing and what that looks like and different things, right? So if I'm helping someone, right, I have a client, I've been kind of helping them with some things. And, you know, I said, hey, you don't use nobody else's platform to like build your email marketing unless that's what they let you do. And we had been having this conversation kind of going back and forth. And lo and behold, they did totally opposite of what I did, of what I suggested, right? And so I'm sitting back and I'm going, that's the dangerous part of it. If you want to be accountable, right? Listen, Shay Bonds is my mentor. Let me use me. She is my mentor. And the most important part, a very important part of this process, of this order plus accountability plus follow through equals success, is being able to sit at the feet of some people who know some stuff I might not know. And then when they're praying for me, because I know Shay prayed for me, she hear from me, and I'll be like, why y'all messing with me today? So I know she prayed. And it's always confirmation of what God is doing or saying to me. And so if she's speaking it, I'm like going, okay, let me kind of hear this and let me talk to God about this. And he'll kind of refine it a little bit, or he'll be like, yeah, that's it. That's exactly what you need to be doing. Go on and move in that. So it's really, and this is another reason why people don't want to be held accountable, Phil, because they know that there's something that's going to be said that's going to help them get the order they need so that they can succeed, right? my biggest thing was starting out was order. So I had to get some things in order. I had to hold myself accountable to that. Then my next thing was, okay, my follow through sucks. It just did. So what do? And so I had to put some things in place that I didn't necessarily want to put in place, like email marketing 2 to 3 times a week. I didn't want to do that. That's too much. Like that, I won't do that. But I listened to what the person I'm holding myself accountable to, and God has placed in my business to help me get order and follow through. And now guess what's happening? A lot of my sales are coming through my email marketing. And I don't do anything but have conversations. I don't do offers all the time. I just have conversations. So I followed through on that. And I was like, wait a minute, hold up, this stuff works. So when we're working with people, we have these tools and these resources, right? And these things, it's like the tools, you have instructions. Use the tools the right way. The people God will use, his wisdom will come through them. Learn how to heed and listen to that and move in that. That is so key. So key.
Mm-hmm. So that's it, so we can get the revelation to help us establish order.
Mm-hmm.
Then we begin to operate in the methodology, to help govern that thing.
Yes.
That's the accountability piece to your process, to the tools, the guidelines of the tools,
mm-hmm.
to the people that you place in there to help you stay in your accountable place. And then after that, we have to, I lost my place here. Keep applying faith.
Yeah.
So we're going back to faith plus obedience equals success, right? The faith part is what's going to reveal that revelation to you, mm-hmm. right? When you're having faith, anyone who asks of God, he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. He's going to give you more clarity, right? So now you have your processes in place, you have your accountability in place, and you're working that process. Then all of a sudden, you go back to God, you get more revelation, he refines things, and then you start the process all over again, right? We have to keep applying our faith, keep getting new revelation for the appropriate time, keep going back through the whole process of setting up our order, our newfound order, keep going back and getting more accountability. Okay, we discovered that all these areas are good. Now I need accountability here because all this is good. So now let me get people in place to help me here. Let me get systems in place to help me here, like the email marketing you talked about, right? And we keep tightening that thing down until we get the process down. And it's like it's a cycle over and over again. And that's where the follow through comes.
Yeah.
When we continue the process over and over again, and we keep seeking God for the wisdom in the revelation, we don't have to worry about messing up. We don't have to worry about, it don't seem like something's working. We'll be able to follow on to completion, right? And I think that's the challenge when people do things once and they're like, it's not working. Okay. And so they give up and they cave in. But that's not how things work. With faith and patience, they receive the promises that God has placed before us. Yeah. Because God is interested in the process. And we have to work the process. And with faith and then patience, we'll see the full success, the full measure of success.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. I was, as you were thinking, as you were talking, I was thinking about, like you said, the promises that he's made to you. And one of the promises God made to me when Color Your Soul even started was, every time I elevate you, there will be someone there to help you. And sure enough, along the way, right? Here they come. And so this email marketing piece started, and I was like, I got to write it. I got to send it out. I got to do this. Oh God. And so I kept the faith that I every week I connect with my audience at least once a week. And then just now it's like, God, I really need somebody to walk through this who I don't have to like over explain how to do it. I need someone who's trainable, can catch on to this really fast. He sent someone to me. Right. I already have somebody on my team who's like, hey, can I take over the email marketing piece? So that frees me up. That's the power of the order, accountability, and follow through, is that you're moving in what it is that God is telling you to move in. And even those things that you may think, I really don't want to do, this is like tedious stuff, this too much, he's going to send somebody to assist you. That's the people and the tools, right? And so if you keep applying the faith, and faith requires you to keep moving and doing something, it's an active word. You have to be doing something. If you keep doing what it is, keep moving in what he's showing you, no matter what it looks like, right? I don't mind writing the emails. It's the follow through, and I got to put it in and I got to go to Kartra. I got to open it up. I got to copy and paste. I got to put this here. Then I got to check the email, make sure the links are all right. Well, guess what he did? He's like, guess what? I'm freeing your time up again some more. Here they are, because so that you can move in what I'm telling you I need you to move in this season. Okay, that's the power of keeping the faith. If you keep going, he opens up these doors for you. And it's really important, because sometimes it can just seem like we're just moving in something. It's like, I'm following through and nothing has happened. I'm following through and nothing has happened. Well, guess what? Keep following through, put the order, accountability, follow through equals success. Whoo. Mm-hmm. Even in email marketing, that's a part of success for me. Having somebody come on board who can take over that piece for me.
Mm-hmm. And so this is how these things all play together. I want to say it a different way so that maybe it'll hit home, because I know we've been talking about a bunch of different points. So I'm just going to go from one point to the next point, and hopefully we will have everything solidified, and God will be magnified and the people will be edified.
Amen.
So keep applying faith. You will keep getting more revelation that will help you to keep clarifying and realigning your order, right? So basically, it will fine-tune your order, right? The next thing, continue checking your process through accountability, right? And then this cycle will allow you to follow through until you get a new assignment from God. So like a lot of people, I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing this anymore. If you keep applying the process of checking in with God, getting your accountability in order and following through, eventually, when God's going to give you a new assignment, you'll start to get clues that the new assignment's coming way in advance, right? Way in advance. You're not going to have to worry about that. And it's not going to be like most times it's not an suddenly. It's hey, here, have you considered this? And it's something a little bit different. We just talk to you about it in passing, but then you continue on in the things that you're doing. Then the next time it's like, he'll give you more revelation of what he talked to you about over here, right? And helps you see, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, this is why this is needed. While you're processing through it, you're still doing what you're doing. And then eventually, you'll get to the point where things become uncomfortable. And you're like, I don't think I'm supposed to be doing this anymore. And then he'll give you revelation. That's right. It's time for you to move on. And this is what I'm going to have you to do. And by the way, this is what I want you to do with the thing that you were just doing here. Either cut it off, leave it here, make a succession plan, whatever the case is, right? So we don't have to worry about missing God if we continue the process of checking in with him with faith, getting the revelation, the formula. I'm not going to keep reading them. Okay, so moving on to the next one, so with faith and patience, they obtain the promises of God, right? Oh, I put good here. Oh, that's crazy. Faith in obedience places you on the road called successful. But when you continue in faith with patience, brings your success to complete. Oh, let me just say it the way that, because obviously I got some typos in my stuff here. So faith and obedience places you on the road to success, and as you do the other things, your accountability, you're getting your order, and your follow through, eventually what will happen is you'll go to the full vision, the completed vision that God has for you, right? And sometimes that puts you in a place where it's generational. You might not complete it. You just keep on your assignment. Then you'll be like what he said to Shay Bonds, he started to show her stuff outside of Kingdom Driven Entrepreneur. And so when she's streaming 5 years in advance, she's like, well, I don't see myself in the CEO position. Who's there? And then he could talk to her about succession, right? Same thing with me. Even while I'm in this position, I already see I'm only going to be able to take this company so far before the next person needs to take the reins and do what they need to do, right? God has inheritance and longevity, and he has a plan beyond you.
That's so good.
Because he knows that we are finite,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he already has his plan worked out, and he knows everything that we're supposed to do. And a lot of times it's going to go over multiple generations. So if we have the proper order, if we have the proper accountability in place, the processes, and we keep the follow through, eventually that thing will grow to a mature place where it can survive outside of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you've imparted whatever you needed to impart into that company. And so now God can pick up the next person, place them in place, and they can build upon what he's already done through the deposits that you left.
Mm-hmm.
But too often we think that we're the end all be all for stuff.
Yeah.
If God gave it to me, it's for me. It's what God's done for me is for me. Well, yeah, what God's done for you is for you, but it's for other people too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
It's for the lineage.
Yeah.
Right. It's an inheritance for the next person. Right.
Yeah.
And if we can get that mindset, then it becomes easier to work our assignment until it's no longer our assignment.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Mm-hmm.
So the way I look at it is like this: staying in faith is about remaining in a posture to hear, right? We know that faith comes by hearing and hearing by the word, but faith is always present tense, right? And so the way I look at it is, okay, so imagine you're on a road with a GPS. And it says, you're going to continue on this road for 250 miles, and then you're going to make a right onto, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You heard it in the moment, right? But if you don't go back and if you don't continue listening for the GPS, you'll miss if there's a need for a detour.
Yeah.
You'll miss if you were just driving, man, and time just going fast, and maybe you even hit a time warp where God just caused you to move from one place to another place in an instant like that, right? If you're not constantly checking in, you'll miss your turn. You can wind up in a completely different destination. We don't check our GPS once, right? We put our GPS on and we let it run. Or at least we let it run with a timer to let us know, okay, I got at least about 2 hours before I'm to this area before I need to start paying attention again. So why is it that we don't do this with God, right? We need to do this with God. We have to continually keep applying our faith, to continue to refine our revelation, to get the understanding that we need. We have to continue to work through our processes, keep staying accountable. This is what God told me it's supposed to look like. And then as he refines stuff, then you start refining it as well. And then eventually we continue to do that over and over again. We'll always hit the bullseye of what we're called to do in our assignment. Even if we missed a turn, because we're checking in faith, we're hearing, always hearing, we'll only miss it by one turn. Oh man, I was supposed to get over. Recalculate and make the U-turn, get back on course. But if we're not paying attention, if we're not listening in with the ears of faith, we can wind up in a completely different destination and then turn around and want to blame God. Well, God, I thought you told me this and it's not working. Okay, he told you that. How often did you check in? And is that really what he told you? Yeah. Did you go back to him to get the refinement?
That's good.
He said, we're going north. Oh, Lord, you said we're going to, I'm in South Florida. Lord, you say I'm going to New York.
Right.
You said we're going north. Oh man, I always wanted to go to New York, man. I think that's what God's doing. So we fill in the blank and we'll wind up outside of our destination. But if we have our GPS on and we're listening and we're hearing what he says and we're turning when he says turn and we're refining when he says refine, we'll make it to the end of the destination, right? But the important part is the process, but we'll make it to the end of the destination because maybe your assignment was not to make it to the end.
That's good. Yeah. That's good. That's really good. I'm sitting up here thinking about when you mentioned about Shay and her, I don't see myself, moving in this. Now it's important that we understand that, even in quote unquote the secular world, they seldom become CEO with the thought of this is where I'm going to be for the rest of my life. A good leader is always grooming other people to move into the spaces that they may be in. Now, a greedy leader, that's something different. He just want to be in charge, right? But a good leader will say, that's a good person for me to mentor, for me to pay attention to, how they're moving, because I see something in them. And then helping them to become what it is that they are called to become in whatever company, space, or whatever it may be. It's one of the things that I love about, I can always tell a good church home, because the pastor will oftentimes see other ministers that he can begin to kind of groom and mentor to become perhaps one day the pastor of that church. Right. So I think that takes faith, because you got to hear God. Like you said, it's about remaining in a posture to hear. What are you saying? When we started the Soul of a Coach Network, I just knew I was going to have to run everything, until my creative director came to me and said, no, we're going to put it all in place. Then I got nervous. It's like, put it in place. What? They don't know how to do it. They'll still need me for X, Y, and Z. And they had everything in order. She had already gone in and learned how to use the platform that we were using at the time. So she knew how to set up the payments. I didn't have to do anything but show up when I was supposed to show up. And so that right there was really powerful for me to go, wait a minute, this ain't all about you. You have to turn that stuff over, right? Even turning over the coaching piece, because of where God has taken me and him telling me, you're not going to do one-on-ones too much anymore. What do you mean? That's my top income producer, Lord. What do you mean? But when we were at KDE Live, I'd already been talking about it. We were at KDE Live. When I got off that stage, the Holy Spirit was like, get ready, because this is what you do. And it wasn't about the speaking. I learned it was about the teaching and the training piece. He'd been telling me for years, you're a teacher. You're a teacher. You're a teacher. This is what you do. And I'm sitting and I'm watching all of this, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Because I'm getting ready to bring coaches on to the Color Your Soul team, so that I don't have to do the one-on-ones. They can do it. He's like, you've equipped people to do this. That's what you do. You've trained them to be soul care practitioners, to be good coaches. They're ready. And he gave me the 4 names. So this is that whole faith thing, because I could have said, no, this is my company. It's just, solopreneur.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not.
And that's how we know when people that say that they're kingdom are actually Christian business owners, not kingdom business owners.
Right.
Because ultimately, if it's kingdom, then the king gets to call the shots.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the king don't always need you in the same place, in the same position.
Mm-mm.
But we have this ownership mindset where we take possession of something. Oh, God has given me this. And we hold on to it too tightly. Right? It is yours until it's not yours anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It is for your blessing until it's not yours anymore. And even when it's not yours, it still can bring blessing, but you have to relinquish it so that God can show you how it's going to bless your life.
Yes. Yes, that's good. Mm-hmm.
And it's challenging sometimes, but if we're really kingdom driven in our approach, then we have to go to the king. We have to apply our faith. We got to hear what the next is, and to keep moving in that, because he's orchestrating some things that we couldn't even possibly begin to orchestrate in our own limited capacity, right? Mm-hmm. we just can't do it. But he has people around us that have the goods. You were talking about your team. They had the goods, and God knew they had the goods a long time ago. He just needs you to hear me out. Hear me out. You know, we're doing something different. What do you mean we're doing something different?
Yeah.
Here, let me show you. Okay, you come over here, show her what you got. You come over here, show her what you got. And y'all did that probably better than I could have did it. But it's not for him he's not trying to say you're not needed. He's trying to say, I need you to move to something else. I'm elevating you.
Yes.
I'm elevating you. There's ascension here. But sometimes we like to stay on the level that we're comfortable with, and we actually block the elevation and the ascension that God is trying to bring into our life.
Yeah. That's good. That's so good. That is so good.
So,
y'all quiet. What y'all got to say today?
well, I'm done from this teaching mode now. So now we can have a conversations.
What y'all got to say today? This is really good. Because it's just a reminder of what faith really is. Let's see. Hold on, someone here. Michelle said, e-talk so rich. There are so many worldly business strategies that color outside of the lines that can slowly seduce kingdom-driven entrepreneurs, and we can begin to drift outside the lines. KDE keeps me kingdom focused because there is a lot I do not realize. I love that part right there, because she's saying, I know I need that accountability, right? I know I need that. I am discovering those nuances of this today, even in this conversation, especially when Latara mentioned creating a list off of someone else's list. That never occurred to me that was even a thing I could potentially get trapped into. It's real easy. But that is why we need accountability, and most importantly, listening to those Holy Spirit checks and standing firm on the instructions he has given us concerning our process. He has been showing me those nuances of the world's ways versus his way lately. It's scary sometimes because I get very close to coloring outside the lines, even when knowing it, but then he will guide me and, of course, correct me with sight to discern what is his way and what is not. Sometimes to the last minute. Phew, thank you, Jesus. I know that last minute. Sometimes he just be sitting there like he be like, you getting it, but you heard me, but I want you to get it. And then you go, oh, wait a minute. Okay. I was about to really mess up, but let me go back and course correct and unravel all of this red tape and ribbon that I got tied all in together. And it's all crazy. It's really easy to, especially when you are in business, and business seems to be the world's, but business, Ebony says it best when she says God is the original entrepreneur. So right? Business is God's. He created business. He created the whole concept of what it looks like and how it goes, but people have taken it and they've distorted it. And so we do have to take a lot of what we do and put it through, the lens of the kingdom and go, is this really what I need to be doing? Should I be doing this? Like the person with the list. I was like, but that's her platform. You can't go and take her platform. If her goal is not to build a list, you can't tell her she need to go build a list and then give you the names. Because first off, everybody's not going to be there for you at this conference. So you don't need all of that. It might just be 2 people that want to connect to you, not 10,000. So let's say she has a list of 10,000 and then you send this stuff out. And then what happens is you find yourself teetering on the line of integrity. So we have to be very careful. And I always look, when I look through the lens of God, I look for integrity. I look for love. I look for his heart, and I look for integrity. I need to see some integrity. Right. Mm-hmm. So this is good. That's good, Michelle. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That is really good.
And one extra thing on what you said, Latara, that helps me is I look at myself to see if I'm taking advantage or if I'm given the advantage.
That too.
Right? Because that, for me, that's usually the sign, okay, maybe there's something off here. If this can't register to me as I'm given the advantage in this situation, or at least at the very least we're neutral, then something might be off. Unless someone offered it to me. Like, because somebody could be generous. They can want to give. And in that place, if in that case, if someone's trying to give something to me, they're trying to give me the advantage, I know how to receive.
Yes.
But if I'm taking the advantage,
right,
that's a problem. We give the advantage.
That's good.
And we receive whatever people give to us. But we don't take.
No, we don't. That's dangerous. And that's a hustle mentality. It's a hustle and a grind mentality, because you're taught that in marketing to get somebody's list, right? I just want to talk about the email thing again. Dory said, the GPS analogy was on point. You have to pay attention to the instructions to get where you need to go. It's easy to get distracted or think you know a better way. Yep. And yes, if you partner with someone for a program or even a telesummit, make sure it's a good fit. I've said yes to some that definitely were not. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You do. You do. That's a whole other conversation. That's like a whole other topic that, that alignment piece. Just because it look good don't mean it's God, right? So that's good though. That's why that GPS is so important. You have to flow in that. And again, because it's going to be somebody who goes, well, I don't know how to hear God. He talks to you all the time. You just have to stop and hear long enough.
Mm-hmm. And take the risk. If you feel like it's a risk, I haven't heard. I don't know if this is God.
Mm-hmm.
Hey God, this is what I think you're saying to me. Is this you? And wait for him to talk.
Yes.
And he'll talk loudly if he really wants you to get. He wants you to know something.
Yes.
He
so will. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's really good. You have to pay attention to the instructions to get where you need to go. That is so good, because it is easy to get distracted, because especially when you are working a business and it just seems like it's not going the way that you thought it would go. How about asking God, how do you want this to go? What does this look like for you? Right? Because it's gonna reward you anyway. Trust me, it will still benefit you. It will. But it'll bring God glory more so than anything else. And I think we get scared because we think, oh, it's not going to benefit me if I ask God, what do he want? Oh, trust me, it will benefit you. Trust me, it will.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Any more comments or questions? This was good. This was such a good conversation. It's always on time for me. I'm like going, man, these conversations be so on time. It just, man, it's like y'all was up. Phil was all up in my business this morning.
I'm not in your business. God be talking. He be telling me what to do, what to talk about. I be like, okay. I just try to stay in my lane.
This is he can
use me to be a deep thinker, because that's how I operate. That's how I flow. And I just try to stay in my lane, because you guys, I'm not gonna get in y'all lane. Y'all could do y'all lane much better than I can do y'all lane. And now I fly trying to fight me.
Yeah, that's good. Pat said both of y'all were in my no, that's the Holy Spirit. Like Phil said, that's God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. You go ask them which one was up in your business, and they'll tell you. This right here is, this is so good. This is so good. Man.
Hey, let's pick on Pat. Pat, why don't you come to the stage if you can be visible on camera?
Let us know if you can. I'll bring you up. Yeah. We're gonna have Pat on here. Probably in January.
She
said she can't. Okay. Well, don't worry, y'all will be hearing from Pat. I'm gonna reach out to her. Oh goodness, this is so good. This was so good. And and when we are flowing in this, sometimes it won't look like what it is that we thought it should look like, right? So Michelle asked for a story, so I'm going to share a story because the Holy Spirit keeps hitting me with this, because I had a phenomenal experience with God this week, and this process is a part of what we're talking about. And I'm writing a book, and so when I started the process of writing a book, it was a while ago. I know I was supposed to write it like right after KDE Live. God was like, "It's time to move," and I was like, "Okay, well, God, here I am, right?" Follow, the follow through, the order, the accountability. Well, God, you know what? I don't know how I'm going to write this book. When I got this income goal for December, how am I going to find the time? Because and the thing is that he was like, so when do you want the book to come out? I want it out for my birthday. My birthday, January 17th, by the way, y'all, just so y'all know, January 17th. My birthday, January 17th. I was like, man, that's really fast. I got to get this book together. I don't know if I'm going to have time because I want to do this workshop and blah, 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 da, 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 da. Because God's been giving me these thoughts around X, Y, Z. And then a monetary blessing fell into my lap on Monday that I didn't expect. It's enough to cover the additional that I needed for December. I'd already made my December income and I still got money that's going to come in, right? And so God was like, now, you ready? So I don't have to do this workshop. I was like, okay, let's write the book. So I'm sitting there and I did the, I got some skill. So I'm working on the book cover and I'm like, oh, this book cover is really good. I can't wait till the day that I get published, and I'm flowing to what God is telling me. This is about order, accountability. And I told Shay, I sent the cover to Shay. I sent the cover to my son and I sent the cover to Tony. And I was like, and they were like, oh my God, it's time. I was like, okay, I got to write this book. I know it's time. I said, man, I can't wait till the day that I get published and somebody can publish me and I don't have to do all this self-publishing stuff. 2 days later, I'm in a conversation with somebody. 2 days later, who's a publisher? Guess what? My book now has a publisher. I didn't ask for that. Right? I knew God said your book, it'll be published or you'll be published. That's what it was. But I wasn't expecting this for this book. But he's telling me, here's the order of this thing. It's time for you to write this. You need the space. I take the last 2 weeks of every year off. Every year. My clients are like this. And I'm watching God. I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, God, this is his order. This is what he's saying to me right now. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to always look like me having to go out and do this workshop so I can make X amount of dollars so I can go rent me an Airbnb and be somewhere for 3 or 4 days to write. It's about the order that he has set, right? The order he has set. There's time for me to write this book now. And now I have this person who's saying, I'm going to help you with this part, and this part, which basically is the whole publishing piece. All I need you to do is write. That's all I need you to do. By faith, I said, I'm going to write this book. And by faith, I was like, okay, God, what we get? I went to him and I said, what we get ready to do? Because you know me and my coins. What we doing? This is the conversation. Mm-hmm. And by faith, I trusted him and I had peace around not doing the workshops. I had peace because it would have been chaos filled because I only have 2.5 weeks before I'm off, which means I would have to rush to put those workshops out before the year ended. And he just put it all together. So all I got to do now is write a book. That's it.
That sounds like a highway, a way that's higher than ours.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
It's higher than ours.
Definitely. Right. So I hope that was a good story for you, Michelle. Oh goodness, this was good. This was so good. You guys go back and listen to this. Oh, Michelle has her hand raised. Let me. I've realized now I can allow people to talk. Okay, Michelle, you can talk.
That was so exciting. I love hearing people's testimonies because it's like you get to bask in the things that you experience with God, but just basking in everybody else's celebrations and how God's moving in their life. And as you were talking, I hopped over to your Facebook page. I saw the cover. I saw that pre-orders go on sale. I think you said next week. So I will be one of the first to purchase. Well, yeah. Maybe I'll even get an autographed copy. I don't know.
Well, yay! All pre-sale books will be autographed. So just so you know. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. That was good. And it is good to share That is the thing. It's good to share your stories. I remember when things were like really starting to change and shift for me. And I told Shasta, I feel so guilty sharing this, but I feel like God is telling me, you know, to share this, what's happening and how he's moving and shifting things. And what I learned is that it motivates and encourages other people. So I no longer care about the naysayers or the, you know, what you're sharing that story for, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't worry no more about the I'm climbing up the rough side of the mountain folks, because that ain't me. So
Mhm.
oh, good. So thank you so much. So much for there we go. So I'm still learning how that permission to talk works. Thank you so much for that, Michelle. I appreciate that. So anything else, Phil? We're just about at time.
Nah, that's it. I will allow you guys to reclaim your time since, you know, no one else has their hand raised and decided to come up.
This was good. This was good. I hope it was good for you all. Again, as a reminder, you get one email a week. It comes in our weekly newsletter that comes out on Wednesdays. You will see what the topic is, and you will see a link to be able to click and join us here in Zoom. If you know someone who's normally here on Fridays, let them know that that's how they get in here now. We're not sending out reminder emails. We're trying not to bombard your emails with a whole bunch, your email accounts with a whole bunch of emails, and keep it nice and decent and orderly. Here we're talking about order, right? So that it's all in one space. So when you get that newsletter, save it. Don't delete it, save it, put it in some folder, you know, in your Gmail account or email account, whatever you use. And then join us on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can always invite somebody else too, you all. Invite somebody else to join us. These are public. They're just because we send it to the list, you can still share with somebody else to join us on these Fridays, because these are great conversations to have. Okay. So thank you guys so much for watching and listening. You can catch us on the podcast, the KDE podcast. We're always a bonus episode, and also on the Facebook page. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.